And cold email is where everything switches. If you had an idea of what was happening with the pattern of the lead magnet, this is where everything goes tits up. You're going to want to have 5 different domains. And the reason why is you're going to want to have a foundation where you hit more email boxes. And so cold email is very different. It's basically you spray and pray, hoping that the email that you're trying to send gets to the right person so that they book a call with you. And in this case, you're not going to be presenting your service. You're not going to be doing any of that. It's simply, can you convince somebody in your email to actually book a call with you? And then you're going to sell that service right online with either a salesperson or yourself. And so in the beginning, it was myself. And here's the secret that I learned in cold email is, 1, make it sound like you know the person and only go towards a specific ideal customer profile. If that person doesn't respond to it, then take them off your email list. The second thing that you're going to want to do is when you go for emails, write as if you're selling something, but don't be too pushy. Lead somebody into it, kind of like slowly promoting and preluding to the benefits, and always lead with benefits and pain points. Number one thing that I realized in sales was that I was selling phones at one point, phone plans. The biggest thing that I learned in sales was everybody is open to your offer, or most people are open to your offer, but the thing that will get them is the pain point that they have and the benefit that you're able to reciprocate to them. And so keep that in mind when you're sending cold emails, because they don't have a lot of time. Sometimes they end up in spam. But if you hit them with the right pain point, for example, I asked an Amazon seller, gave him a cold email once, and I landed a $10,000 worth project within 1 or 2 emails, because I sent him an email that basically said, hey, your listing is not optimized, and you could have a couple banners done and your Shopify website changed, and this could actually help benefit your sales down the road. And it did. And if the problem is big enough, then you can deliver the right service to make that problem worth their while then paying for it to solve. And so that's the theory behind, or that's the strategy behind cold email. What you're going to want to use for a cold email instantly works. I've used SmartLead.io, works pretty well. Instantly works pretty well. You're going to want to have an email list for this. The only thing that you're going to actually need with cold email is actually having an email list. And you'd have a lead gen person on LinkedIn, usually through Sales Navigator, specifically look for a niche and then target that niche and get as many emails as they can. There's various other ways of doing it, but that is the most common way of doing it. That's how I do it. If you would need help doing that, I can definitely help you get started there. And it works for any niche, but this works for e-commerce brands as well. Moving on into Warm DM and Upwork. Warm DM is a little bit of an iffy system. And the reason why I say that is, there's this idea that like Alex Hormozy puts out there, which is like, you could have, 1,000 people in your contacts list or 500 people in your contacts list, and you'd want to say, hey, I offer this service. Would you be interested in it, to your friends and your family? That's kind of warm DM, or that's warm DM. That's warm outreach. However, I'm not a real big fan of it because I don't want to ruin my reputation by offering a service. Of course, you might ask, well, if your service is good, then why wouldn't you mind offering it? I've offered great services to people in the past and done the best that I could do, but things didn't work out. And because they didn't work out, you mix business and so-called pleasure, right? And sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor. And so just to avoid these things, I would say warm DM is something that you're going to want to do if you have no other options. Or if you're more confident in your service and it's more of a black and white service that you're able to deliver quite simply. So graphic design, video editing, going and showing up at somebody's wedding and doing some photography or videography. That's something that you can focus on. It's very clean, cut and dry that you'd be able to service. And that's your warm DM stuff. If you do have a following, there's something different for you with warm DM. For example, I have around 600,000 followers of travel bloggers and various people who are in the travel space and entrepreneurial space that like some of my content. I post meme and theme page content. I have an agency that has a lot of theme pages. And so what we do from time to time is we put out polls, and these polls will allow you to gather emails after you ask a question like, hey, would you like a free training on social media engagement on TikTok for this niche? Yes. They enter their email. From that email, you basically give them a DM and say, hey, are you interested in this? Just making sure you qualify them, which is what you're doing here. If they're more interested in it, you book a call with them or you send them to your website and they can order your lead magnet or product. What I would say is you're still going to want to go with a book a call because you're going to need to prove yourself and your service. And really, the book a call is the best way for you to convince others of your service and why you're so unique. And I can go into proposals after this very lightly, but your proposals are going to be a huge benefit in creating more revenue and getting that personal buyer. And so just before I get into Upwork and that strategy, take some time now to take a screenshot of this. Poke holes in it, ask me questions if you'd like. This is a very, very, very surface level funnel of how this actually works. And so if you want the more put together version, I offer consulting, 30 minutes, 1 hour, and we can talk about how to set up your business. I will quickly go over the Upwork system if you've taken a screenshot of that. So make sure to take a screenshot of that. And without further ado, let's get into that last part.